Hello. Today is March 22nd. I know it's been a while since I posted anything. I posted a video, I believe it was yesterday, but it had been originally recorded on February 8th. A lot has happened since I recorded that video. I mean, I've tried to post a couple other videos along with that one that I was unsuccessful with getting them posted due to having issues with memory on my phone, and getting stuff uploaded and then trying to get it stitched together or to edit it. So now I've come to the conclusion that I am going to try to just, shoot short videos or videos in one take where if there's a mistake, it's, unless it's minor and I can remove it easily, it's gonna stay in there. And I'm just, it's just gonna be unedited videos, and I'll try to make them short but sweet. But a lot has happened since February 8th. Actually, on that day, my mom was admitted into the emergency room, and she stayed in the hospital for 23 days, 22 or 23 days. 3 days after that video, she ended up in the ICU. She had congestive heart failure, and she had made multiple trips recently into the hospital for fluid buildup, and she'd go in for 2-3 days. They'd get the fluid back down, and she'd be fine for a while. Well, we assumed, and she assumed that this was going to be just a routine visit, and she was going to go in. They were going to put her on the diuretics, that the fluid would get, she'd get rid of the fluid and she'd be home in 2 or 3 days. But that's not what happened. What ended up happening was she got influenza A and pneumonia and ended up in the ICU. So that, on top of already having congestive heart failure and a pacemaker and heart issues, basically that's what did her in. She had originally had a 20%, prior to that, she'd had a 20% ejection fraction on her heart because of a leaky valve, and she had actually had scheduled surgery for the 24th. Excuse me. Excuse me. 24th of February, and we thought for sure that she would, still be able to make that and get that leaky valve fixed, and help with lengthening her life and improving her life. But the influenza and the pneumonia took its toll on her, and by the time they got that under control, her heart ejection fraction capacity was down to 12%, and they basically told us that she would not, there was no hope of an improvement on that, and that she would not be able to have the heart valve repair. And then they had originally thought that we'd be able to have her released to physical therapy. And even that was too much. They, just sitting her up in the chair would wipe her out for a whole day. So they kept her in the hospital for, in ICU for, good grief, a couple weeks. Then they finally released her to a regular room. And then they started talking that she was actively passing, and that we would need to make arrangements for her to either go into a nursing home under hospice, or come home under hospice. And there's no way that my dad would have been able to take care of her at their trailer in hospice. I mean, because he's got his own health issues, and he was already struggling trying to take care of stuff for basically a month on his own. So my husband and I decided that Well, let's see how this goes. I had to stop because the dogs were going crazy. My daughter just got home with my granddaughter, who's going to be staying with us for the week because she's on spring break. Her and her brother both are on spring break this week. So, anyways, so we had decided that we were going to have Mom brought to our house for hospice, and so she was here, and let me back up a little bit. So back in January, my husband and I were talking about, him retiring. He's going to retire in July. And he had mentioned that, he said to me, when are you going to retire? And I said, oh, well, I'm not even 62 until December. So that would be the earliest I could retire. And he told me, he's like, well, I really wanted you to retire with me so we could do stuff this summer, so I was thinking you would, quit the same time I did, and, we would just manage. So I, was thinking about it, and then I told him, I'm like, yeah, I can do that. But then I kept waking up in the middle of the night, and I'd wake up every morning with the thought in my head that I needed to tell work that I wanted to retire in February. It kept, being impressed upon me to retire in February. So I told him about that, and I said, I don't know what you think about that. I said, and I don't know why, but something keeps telling me I need to retire in February. And I said, and I know it's way early, and it's way earlier than you. And I said, I don't know if maybe it's because we need to work on getting everything figured out, and I need the time, or if it's just stress from work that's, making me want to retire at this time. I'm not sure what it is, but I just feel like I need to do it in February. So he's like, go ahead. If that's what you think, then go ahead and do it. So I'd made up my mind that I would give my notice, and my last day of work would be March 6th. Well, in the meantime, all this starts happening with my mom. Her ending up in the hospital and then not getting well. And, I spent a lot of time, between work and at the hospital with Mom and trying to, do stuff at home. And so then when it finally came down to the point to where we moved her into the house for hospice, which was the Tuesday, let me see, it was March 3rd was the day that they actually released her from the hospital and moved her into the house. So I ended up having to work that last week at home, remotely, and training, help training the guy that was going to, fill in till they get somebody hired to take my spot. I was, training him remotely as well. I tried to do as much as I could the week before with him and on Monday and Tuesday. But, and I told him, I gave him free rein, hey, if you have any questions, feel free to call me, even if I'm done on the 6th. If there's anything, shoot me a message, give me a call, whatever. I'm happy to help, because I feel bad about leaving like this, but, I kind of have to right now. So anyways, so she moved in on the 3rd, and I was sleeping on the couch for the next week because she passed away on March 10th. I was having to give her medication and monitor and stay, basically by her bedside for 24 hours a day, every day from when she got here. And I'll tell you, that's something hard, is to watch somebody disappear. I mean, to pass away, especially when it's your mom. Aunt. Sorry. Anyways, so I'm still trying to deal with that because she passed away at 6:50 in the morning that morning. So then we had to wait for them to come and, get here, and, the nurse got in, the hospice nurse came in and basically reported her death. You know, I had called them, but she was already on her way here because she was going to be here early that morning anyways. But she, so then she contacted the funeral home, and we had to wait for them to come and to get my mom, and we're still trying to get my grandson ready for school and getting him out, and then just, you know, sitting around and waiting for them to come and take mom. I called my dad and told him to just go ahead and stay at home because of everything going on here. I just figured it was better than him seeing her in the state that she was in. And so then once they got all that done, my husband and I went up to go spend the rest of the day with my dad, and my brother was there too. When we got there, my dad was complaining about his feet hurting. So I asked him, you know, he's diabetic, he has heart problems, he has poor circulation. So, you know, I told him, you know, take your shoes and socks off. Let me take a look at your feet, find out what's going on. Well, we ended up leaving shortly after that to take him to the emergency room. And he spent a week basically in the hospital, 1 day short of a week in the hospital. They ended up having to do a procedure on him to open up arteries in his leg. Discovered that he had a blood clot in his leg, and he has sores on both of his feet. So I've been having to doctor that every day, driving up to where he lives every day. You know, and it's 20-minute round trip. You know, 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back, plus the amount of time to go up there and spend time with him and do stuff at the house with him and things like that. So I've been busy. And I have to, you know, was waiting for him to get out of the hospital and find out what's going on with him. And, you know, my mom, she didn't want a funeral, but I want to have a celebration of life. So I need to get that scheduled. And I have all the family that I was reaching out to, and everybody's reaching out to me to, you know, find out when her services are going to be. And I told him, I'm like, I will have to let you know, but everything's on hold until we get Dad under control, because now he's my focus. I don't want to lose another parent immediately after losing my mom, you know. So I had to ask people to, you know, back down a little bit and give me some time. So I've had a lot going on. And yeah, I'm just making sure I got up all my notes. I wrote down, you know, kind of a list of everything that's been going on since my last attempt at posting a video. So, and like I said, just the other day, I finally got a few minutes, and I'm like, hey, you know, I'm gonna try to start recording, even if it's, you know, 5 minutes a day, and getting it posted with little life updates and things that's going on. And then I saw I had the one video that I'd finally been able to get uploaded, but I just never got a chance to get it posted. You know, I didn't get all the, you know, putting it on public and the tags and you know, all the extra stuff. And I even went ahead and just decided to go ahead and post it as it was. And I didn't add any extras, you know. No, I didn't add any, you know, like and subscribe little things. I didn't add any, you know, affiliate links or anything, or reference any affiliate links. So but I did get that posted. But I wanted to let everybody know what was going on and why it's been dead silent for almost 2 months. And I really apologize, but I will, like I said, I'm going to try at least every other day, or at the very least, I guess, once a week, get a video together of something. I've got a lot of stuff that I want to talk about. You know, I've officially retired. Like I said, I've dealt with a lot of hospital stuff with my mom and my dad, and health issues, and the grandkids are going to be on spring break, and we're getting ready. You know, spring is coming, and we're looking at getting our trailer opened up down at our campsite down in Woodhaven. And I have a lot of plans for things I want to talk about this summer. So like and subscribe. And hopefully I can have some better news moving forward and can be more regular with my posting. And I would really, really like some comments and, you know, questions. Maybe, you know, let me know some things that you guys might want to hear in regards to some of the stuff that I've been dealing with. So thank you and have a good day. We'll see you next time.